LiveSpace is an e-commerce platform that brings together interior designers, contractors and vendors to help customers plan their home renovation in one place. It's present in 6 major cities in India, as well as in Singapore. From the start, its founders aimed to disrupt a traditional business model.
When you look at the home interiors and renovation industry, and this is an experience worldwide, the entire industry is actually managed in a very traditional way. So in that industry, firstly, we actually saw the opportunity for a technology platform to integrate the entire value chain. Once you're able to use platforms to actually solve a complex and integrate a complex value chain like home interiors and renovation, we actually saw the potential of building an extremely large company that can really operate in, in most of the geographies. And when you see an opportunity like that, you really go after it.
But these plans hit a roadblock when the pandemic struck and countries around the world locked down. One of the strictest lockdowns was in India.
When we were all in May and April, these were very uncertain days, and like many companies, we were in the non-essential category. So both in India and Singapore, while the online portion of our business actually continued because people could work on their home, ultimately you have to go to a person's home to install. So the last mile nature of the work completely stopped.
In May, the company had to lay off 450 staff, or about 15% of its workforce. But since then, business has bounced back, and the company hopes to become profitable in India next year. In September, LiveSpace raised $90 million in Series D funding, and that was followed weeks later by over $4 million in debt funding. So far, private equity and venture capital funds have played a key role in powering up tech firms like LiveSpace. Singapore-based Jungle Ventures invested in LiveSpace 5 years ago as it sought to find Asian startups with potential to become global brands.
We look for founders that have very long-term vision, ambitions. We support them by coaching, mentoring, leadership development practices. Failure typically happens because you've either not understood your market well or you're not well capitalized. But most often than not, failure happens because founders are not able to transition to become CEOs.
Since 2012, Jungle Ventures has raised more than $350 million and has backed over 35 founders across the region. Startups in its portfolio have been resilient thus far, with some growing in value to be acquired by tech giants Twitter and Rakuten.
The planning for exit has to start right at the moment of your entry. If you look at some of our exits, most of the companies would have had some level of founder-to-founder interaction for years, would have potentially a commercial arrangement before the exit.
The sale of online inventory and order management software TradeGecko to US-based Intuit is Jungle Ventures' most recent exit. The deal, reportedly worth over $80 million, took place amid the pandemic.
We've been partners with Intuit for, I think, over 5 years. Our customers could use TradeGecko for the inventory and order management and QuickBooks for the accounting. And our software would talk online, again, both being cloud-based systems.
TradeGecko started in 2012 and provided software to help small and medium businesses sell online. Prior to the acquisition, it had built up a profitable business serving customers in over 100 countries and had offices in Singapore and Toronto. But business slowdown has also seen it lay off workers early this year, according to reports. For now, the migration of many small businesses online is opening up demand for its back-end management software.
We've seen the fastest growth in e-commerce and kind of demand and interest of the last kind of 4 or 5 months that we've ever seen, because we've seen this huge acceleration to online. So we've helped, lots of businesses who had a great offline business rapidly need to set up an online one.
For its own growth journey, TradeGecko says its venture capital partners provided valuable help.
VCs bring this kind of pattern recognition where they've seen it many times, and they can kind of give you that context and that advice. And obviously, if they don't know, they can make introductions, because they have this kind of network. The most valuable part, which is one, you realize you're not in it alone. Everyone goes through the same things.
And despite the bumps on the road in this pandemic year, there are still opportunities out there.
The capital that it takes to start a company is lesser than what it would 10 years ago. That's one. Secondarily, I think your ability to attract great talent for your startup is much higher than what used to be like 10 years ago. And then thirdly, the important thing is that consumers today actually trust the internet medium, right? But very importantly, your heart has to be in the value proposition that you're after. And that value proposition at some point in time needs to be able to generate margins such that your company can go profitable.